Imagine a modern Cairo without the dust or the sprawl. The horizon is dominated by hyperboloids of black granite that serve as conductors, pulling raw energy from the Earth's tectonic plates. Here, society is governed by an engineering guild, not a religion. This isn't a speculative fiction pitch. It is the trajectory humanity was on until a single strategic error occurred in 2630 BC. This bronze depicts Imhotep. Standard history books label him as a court physician or a royal architect, focusing on his status as a wise healer. In reality, Imhotep was the first human to realize that stone was more than a shelter. It was a medium for technical leverage. He looked at architecture and saw a method for programming the behavior of an entire civilization. Civilizations were once transient, built from mud and reeds. Without a stable medium for records or structures, every cultural breakthrough eventually eroded back into the silt, leaving the population in a cycle of reset. Imhotep solved this by treating limestone as a form of immutable code. Stacking it with precise geometry allowed him to write instructions for human behavior that would outlast the seasonal floods. This is the Step Pyramid at Saqqara. By centralizing the national economy and labor force around a permanent, multi-generational construction project, Imhotep synchronized the movement of an entire population. The rigid geometry on the horizon functioned as a machine for mass psychological compliance, forcing citizens to align their life with the state's technical goals. The completion of this machine triggered a crisis. Imhotep's merit-based technocracy now stood in direct opposition to the priests of Ra, who maintained power through the traditional religious hierarchy. Introducing a disruptive technology into an old-world order forces a conflict. Only one group can control the narrative of the future. At the inauguration of Saqqara, Imhotep possessed the absolute loyalty of the construction army. These thousands of laborers and engineers revered his intellect as something divine. He had the leverage to replace the priestly class entirely and establish a meritocracy of engineers. He could have replaced mythology with physics. Instead, he chose the safety of status within the existing system, allowing the religious establishment to take administrative control of Saqqara. The priests immediately neutralized his engineering. They recontextualized his machine as a ritual object, burying its technical purpose under layers of superstition. Imhotep proved that possessing world-changing tools is irrelevant without the psychological will to maintain control over them. This surrender cost humanity its first industrial age. Its Egyptian inquiry had remained focused on mechanics rather than prayers. The papyrus scrolls of 2000 BC would have contained blueprints for steam engines and hydraulic presses. This mummified cat represents a massive diversion of intellectual capital. The genius used to preserve dead tissue could have been applied to medicine. Our modern world would be completely unrecognizable. The planet would be organized into Egyptian logistic nodes, using desert thermodynamics to power a global network of self-sustaining cities. We likely wouldn't use spoken language. Humanity would have moved to a visual code like this, a high-bandwidth data transfer language designed to convey complex technical ideas without the ambiguity of words. Humanity essentially traded a galactic empire for 4 millennia of religious stagnation and provincial wars. This view of Saqqara today is a record of a failed future. The project didn't fall because of a structural flaw. The stones are still standing after 4,600 years. Imhotep's engineering was perfect. The failure was a psychological one. He created a system that could reshape reality, but the implications of his own work paralyzed him. He surrendered the management of his complex to a priesthood that prioritized preservation over progress. History remembers the wise man, but it forgets the emperor he refused to become. He allowed his discovery to be sanitized by the very order he should have disrupted. Innovation rarely remains the property of its inventor. It shifts to whoever has the will to use it as a weapon. Modern creators are still repeating Imhotep's mistake. They build systems meant to change the world, only to hand them over to legacy institutions for blessing. If you build a transformative system, you must remain its indispensable component. Do not allow the old order to domesticate your breakthrough. The pyramids are the tombstones of a lost galactic empire.
a permanent warning to every creator who dares to hesitate.